Carman and Paul Ahnert.
Hey, there it is, Sunday night, Road Less Traveled, episode 71. We are excited to be here tonight. Bryan, tell everybody who our special guest is.
I don't know. Jonathan Pagano, the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Novella. How's it going, sir?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Doing well. We're super stoked to have you on the show tonight, man. We can't wait to hear what you have to talk about. And I know we got a lot of people going to be tuning in just to see what you have to say. So before we get going there, we do have our little music segment. So, Bryan, what are you listening to this week?
Well, I made a post about it. So I went to see Petra last night, and they just rock the house. We were talking earlier. It's like these guys are the three main dudes: Bob Hartman, John Lowry, and Bob Hartman, John Schlitt. I'm real tired. And John Lowry. They're all the same age. They're 76.
Wow.
But I recommend that if you're a Petra fan, a pet head, you get this CD because you get a lot of history, some old pictures, and I'm also friends with Bill Glover, the original drummer, and he's a Buccaneer fan, so we get along pretty well.
Very cool guy.
And then the other two people may have heard of these guys, but and they're both, to me, they're both masterpieces of melodic hard rock, regular rock, Christian stuff. So if you haven't heard of them, shame on you. But get listening.
What's the name of those bands you were sharing there, Bryan? In case someone couldn't read the CD.
What's that?
The name of that band you were just sharing?
Novella.
In case someone couldn't read the CD.
Novella, which means story, right,
Novella.
Jonathan?
It does.
Awesome. Because I always tell people, even the drunk guy that cut you off and flipped you off or whatever on the road, he's got a story. There's something going on in his life. And we need to pray for people and lead them to the Lord. So that's what I have for music right now.
All right. So I picked this one up recently, gave it a few listens, liked it quite a bit. Charisma. Actually, it reminded me a lot of Jars of Clay style, which is kind of different for me. Not really in my wheelhouse on a regular basis, but really good stuff. In my wheelhouse, listening to some Striper this week, as always. Something new coming out. They're getting ready. I think they're mixing now the new album, so it should be out soon.
Michael just put one
Stronghold. Stronghold is a good hard rocker. So if you get a chance to check these guys out, you won't be disappointed.
What is Fortress Rock?
I've
never heard of that.
Fortress Rock? That's the name of this album. It's Stronghold
is
the band, and Fortress Rock is the name of the album.
My bad. There's so many genres out there. I can't keep up.
There is. Yeah, maybe someone will make that up now. There'll be the new style. So, Jonathan, what have you been listening to?
So my oldest son turned me on to a band called Circus Maximus, which they've had a bunch of records out from I think the late 90s into the 2000s. I mean, just an excellent. If you like great musicianship, progressive, melodic, just a great band. I mean, he played me one song and I was like, oh my gosh, that's really good. And then I started going into the catalogs and just pulling songs into a playlist that I work out to every day. So yeah, great band.
So Bryan introduced you, mentioned the band Novella, one of the I want to say mainstay, one of the big bands of the era. So what was it like getting to do that? What was it like? What led you to that? What was the faith journey that led there? Go ahead. Yeah, take it away, Jonathan.
That's a long story. So,
we got an hour.
I grew up in so I grew up in a Christian home and became a Christian very, very young in life. I mean, my Christian heritage is very rich. I had a grandfather. My father's from Italy. His father started 300 churches in Italy during the time of Mussolini. Was put in jail many times during World War II. And so that's the kind of heritage I came from. And as I was growing up into my high school years, I almost only listened to Christian music. So I listened to, I mean, I was a Phil Keaggy nut. Listened to Keith Green, loved Keith Green, Second Chapter of Acts, like all of these original Christian artists. And at the same time, I was a musician. My parents had me on piano lessons, and then I started playing the guitar very young, 9, 10 years old.
Wow.
And in my teens, I started just writing little riffs and little musical ideas. And, I started having the idea of I love Christian music, but I'd like to get involved in it and take it to a little bit of a different level. Because everything that I was listening to and that was available at the time was very overtly Christian, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted something a little bit deeper. And so my music from the very beginning tended to be a little bit more, little darker, a little bit more progressive in some songs, and definitely melodic.
Love that.
And so I also was listening to a lot of the 70s bands. I was in high school in the 70s, so I listened to Boston, listened to Journey, of course, was a big favorite. And went to college, had bands in college before I got to college, after I graduated college. And the story of Novella is actually a really interesting one. There was a studio in New Jersey called Grand Slam Studios, run by a guy named Joey Powers. And he was producing records for Refuge Records, right? So he was producing, White Cross and a bunch of other bands. And so I was introduced to him. I met him. He and Refuge Records decided to do a song contest. This is the start. This is how Novella started.
Okay.
So I entered one of my songs called Running Home.
Oh, I love that song.
And they selected that song as the winner of the song contest, which I was thrilled with.
Yeah.
And part of the winnings was not only to get to go into Grand Slam and record that song, but they were going to put it on a compilation record. So we went in, we recorded the song, and I recorded it with a completely different version of Novella. None of the guys that played on any of the records.
Wow.
And that song was put on a compilation record called The Axeman. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that record, but that version of Running Home is actually my favorite. It's a much more raw version. And people who know both of them, a lot of them tend to lean towards the Axeman version. And so they just sent that record out. There was a lot of bands on there, a lot of, hardcore Christian metal and rock bands I think there were 12 different artists on the band. We were one of them on this album. And then they just sent the record to radio stations. And, lo and behold, radio started playing our song. And it charted well enough to where Ray Nenow, the owner of Refuge Records, came to me and said, "We want to sign you to a deal." And at the time I was like, "That's great, but I don't have a band anymore." The whole band fell apart, right? Which is, that's a classic story, right? So he said to me, "I don't care if you're a solo artist or if you have a band. I don't really care. We just want to sign you." And I told him, "Great, I'll sign a contract with you, but I don't want to be known as Jonathan Pagano. I do want to keep the Novella name, and I'm going to put a group together." And he was like, "I'm fine with that too." So that's how Novella started. That's how I got signed. And then I went on a search. I already knew some guys, and those guys knew guys, and so we got together. I had, for One Big Sky, I want to say I had all of the songs pretty much composed. So yeah, so we were just really in production mode. And the great thing about that record is we were completely left alone. Ray Nino was completely hands off. At the time, I had hired Plinky Gilio to be the producer. So he and I co-produced it. He was, of course, the lead producer.
Yeah, it says it right there.
Yeah.
Good.
And so we got into his studio, Traxy Studio in New Jersey, and there was no A&R guy. There was nobody. It was just go into the studio and create a record. And there was no hands-on, no hand-holding, no. Let me hear the songs. The classic, what you typically get at a record label. You get an A&R guy, and you present all your songs, and they pick the ones they want on the record. There was none of that. So that record is the one I'm most proud of from that perspective. It's 100% me, 100, all the way down.
I love it.
All the way down to the cover, because I found an artist in New Jersey who was just a fabulous artist named Dave DeVries, and I told him, look, this is the name of the record. This is what I'm looking for. This is the kind of music that we do. And he went, if you look at that cover, that's not a painting. That's an actual sculpture.
No way.
Created. So he painted those little vignettes and hung them in this background sculpture and then took a picture of it. So that's a picture of an actual sculpture that he created.
Wow. I was going to ask about the art because I'm a graphic artist too, and I've designed our first 3 albums before I hired somebody out.
Right. So
wow.
So from that perspective, I'm most proud of that record because there was no record company involvement. It's 100% me. And the satisfaction in all of that came when we were nominated for 3 Dove Awards: New Artist of the Year, Best Rock Record, and Best Album cover.
What is your favorite song off of this one?
I
know, but let's say you had to pick one or you're going to die.
That's like asking to pick his favorite kid, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like, picking one of my 3 boys. Which is your favorite?
Depends on the day.
I like them all for different reasons. So
there you go.
I like Big Sky at the end.
Me too.
Because I had to fight Plinky a little bit because that was kind of a live band version with overlaid guitar tracks.
Oh, sweet.
And so he didn't really like my guitar playing. And I said, whether you like it or not, me and the band are playing this. I'm going to overdub all the guitars. And I think it came out great. I love that song. It starts with the acoustic ballad. It segues into the band just jamming, and then it segues right back out into the acoustic ending. So that's one of my favorites on there. Give Me Love.
Surrender.
Do We Just Surrender is great now. And Lay It On Me. So the guy who was singing in front of that song was an old black guy. He had a crew of people that would sing in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He had all of these guys, and they would be singing out on their front porch constantly. And his name was Solo. And we asked him to come in, and that's a complete riff. We just told him this is what the song's about, and we just had him in the studio, pressed record, and
he ad-libbed that. He ad-libbed that.
Completely ad-libbed that.
No way. He's got a great voice. Is he still alive? It sounds like he's an older guy then.
Yeah, he was old then. He has passed since.
Okay. What a singing voice though, for like that kind of the blues kind of. Man.
Phenomenal. So,
Yep.
there's a lot of songs on that record I love for different reasons. But those kind of like the highlights. I love Fire Eyes is one of my favorites.
Dude, when I wanna do a Bible study or pray to God, I'll put Fire Eyes on first. Close my eyes and just lay back. That song is so good.
Nice.
Thank you so much for what you've done.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And so that's how that record came about. Now, in the middle of all that, Star Song Records bought Refuge. And the story goes that they bought Refuge for White Cross, and they were going to kick everybody else off the record, off the label. And so our A&R guy was Des Dickerson. He came out to New Jersey during the One Big Sky. The One Big Sky wasn't released yet, so this was like we were just finishing up. We didn't even mix the record yet. He came out and heard the tracks, and according to his story, is he was blown away. He went back to Star Song in Nashville and told the execs there that his exact words were, "You're not going to believe what we have in New Jersey." So, yeah. So they decided to keep us on the label. And so that record came out, got released, did extremely well. Then we went and recorded A Liquid Earth. Now, Liquid Earth is a different record. We had a different guitar player come in, Derek Jan. And
just looking at that.
Yeah, and he had a little bit of a different style. And we did co-write a bunch of songs together. So unlike One Big Sky, where I wrote all the music, there was a couple of co-writes. Do We Just Surrender and Who Are We to Say are co-writes. But on A Liquid Earth, there were a lot of co-writes with Derek. It was the record company process. So, Des had to come in, listen to the songs. Now he was a little bit lenient, so he wasn't as on top of it, meaning I got to hear every single song. He was trusting the fact that, hey, we did a record, it did great, we were nominated for 3 Doves. Let's let these guys do what they do. But it was a little bit more involvement than the One Big Sky record. They wanted to make sure there were radio hits and that sort of thing. And so we did that record, and that was about it. We toured quite a bit.
Wish I wouldn't have missed that.
We played quite a bit. We were pretty aggressive at taking shows. Of course, we didn't get paid anything, a lot of times. Starving musicians out on the road. And that's kind of how that went. So that's kind of the Novella story in a nutshell.
I have a question about the last 2 songs on Liquid Earth.
Okay.
Missionary and Stranger. I'm very evangelistic.
Yep.
Can you explain why those 2 songs are on there? Because it's probably obvious, but hear it from you.
I mean, they're both related to the same thing. It's about having something that you believe in and not being afraid to share that belief, right? And I don't know, like I said, I'm a different kind of guy. I'm not that overt, take a Bible and slam it over people's heads. I'm more of a tell you what I believe, show you what I believe, live the life, talk about my beliefs, but not in such a heavy-handed, controversial or harsh way. You know what I mean?
More descriptive instead of back in the day. If you notice, a lot of the metal bands and stuff were always like very, you're gonna die, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna but these, like your first song is called Story,
right?
And I love that one too.
Yeah, see, that was the other thing. When I started playing and having bands, the first version of Novella, and then Novella with One Big Sky and A Liquid Earth, I was listening to what was out there, and I wasn't really that enamored with it, to be honest with you. Like I said, I was old CCM, right? Phil Keaggy, Randy Stonehill, like that kind of stuff.
Rich Mullins.
But the hard rock and the metal stuff in the 80s and 90s, I was not a fan of. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like that kind of music. I was more into really good progressive, Kansas was one of my favorite bands growing up, Queensryche, one of my favorite bands, Operation Mindcrime, one of my favorite record of all time. I mean, I liked really good musicianship, right? With really good lyrics, melodies, vocals, so that's where I came from. I didn't really hear a lot of that. And I didn't hear it until Bride came out with Snakes in the Playground. Of course, that was produced by Plinky. They brought Plinky in.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Produced that record. It's a really good record.
Very good.
But outside of that, in college, I listened to a lot of Petra. Loved Petra. As a matter of fact, on one of my solo records, I toured and opened for them for 22 shows.
Nice.
But yeah, I just saw what I was and what I wanted to do with my music as being different from what everybody else was doing, right? For the reasons I was just talking about. Wanted it to be a little bit more thought-provoking in the lyrics, instead of Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. I mean, everybody else was doing it. I didn't feel like I needed to do that as well.
Yep.
So I wanted to be a little bit more deep,
Yeah,
a little bit
and
more.
I love that.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to be more
Yeah,
introspective.
and I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You can speak. Go ahead.
I don't know if you listen to any CCM lately, what's on the radio, but it's very repetitive and very shallow and very me oriented. And the stuff that you're talking about, the stuff that Novella put out, the stuff that's coming out still in the more harder rock genre, there's thought in its stories, and it's about life, and it's about real stuff that's happening that people can actually relate to. And so talk about the name, because I know we talked about that a little bit before the show. Where did you get the name Novella from? Why is it meaningful?
Yeah. So, in the original version of Novella, as we were trying to come up with a name, I was trying to come up with a name with the guitar player at the time. So the guitar player at the time is a guy named John Citarelli, really great guitar player.
Which one is he?
Well, no, he's on the Axeman.
Oh, got ya. I forgot. My bad.
And so, with him, we were throwing back names, and that name just popped in my head. I was like, "What about Novella?" It means story, and that meaning really ties into what I'm trying to do and what we are as individuals, especially in the Christian faith, And so the name stuck. We kept it, and now I understand there's like 4 or 5 different novellas out there.
Are there really?
Yeah, I mean, not in the Christian realm,
Okay.
but yeah. All right, I'm gonna walk around because I gotta find a cord before my phone dies.
Oh no.
So anyway,
While
let's
you're
keep
doing
talking.
that, I'm going to jump in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in the comment section while you're looking for cord. Pat Carnes said that Novella was one of the early Christian bands that he was introduced to. So, we talk about legacy, talk about the fact that you were doing something cutting edge at the time. What kind of impact I'm sure you got feedback from people. Bryan talking about how it affected him. Pat Carnes talking about how it affected him. What kind of feedback have you gotten? Because what we really want to do is inspire people today who are thinking about stepping out and doing something. So, talk about the impact you've had and encourage somebody else that's thinking about doing what you stepped out and did.
Well, I don't know that I would encourage anybody to do what I did. I mean, unless you want to be a starving musician. So it's a tough life. It's a passion play, right? It's all about, that's what drove me. So one of the reasons why I don't really do anything now, I was a praise and worship leader for a bunch of years. I retired from that.
Okay.
Um, but right now I do really nothing musically. It's because you have to have the drive, the passion, and you can't really have a lot of obstacles in the way, like a wife, kids.
I want an obstacle because my wife died in 2022, so
Oh
I'm
man,
looking for an obstacle.
sorry to hear that, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, so when you're young, when I was in my 20s, no obligations. You can go out on the road. You don't have to get paid, right?
Look at
Uh,
that hair.
yeah, and you can exactly. So yeah, it's a hard life. You have to be extremely passionate about it, and you have to be able to put up with the obstacles that are out there. It's not an easy life. And to be honest, um, Christians are hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with non-Christians, you know what you're dealing with, right? You
Mhm.
you go in going, I know exactly what I'm dealing with, but I was naive, and I was dealing with people that I thought were like-minded, and so you meet a lot of people, even in the Christian world, promoters, youth pastors, that are not what you go in thinking they are.
Yep,
So it's tough. Now a lot of them are great, right?
of
But
course.
that's what I'm saying. It's a hard, tough life, and the only thing that propelled me forward was the passion for the music. Period. End.
For me, it's passion of Christ and the music, and I'm sure that you did that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, for me, the music is Christ inspired, so
Yep,
I don't see a difference between those two. Not for me.
right. I think that for me, and we are resolute, the music pushes, the lyrics are most important because I want people through my struggles, that's what I write, mostly my struggle, but I make it generalized so that you can look at it and go, hey, I'm going through this pain. This song really touches me. Because if I don't make it general, then like, well, that's somebody else's problem, you know?
Right, right.
Yep.
Well, for me, it was both, though. The lyrics were
Yep.
extremely important,
Mhm.
but the music was important too, because I really believe that music um, is is a direct um, influence from the God spirit world. That's what I believe. I believe it comes straight from heaven.
Oh, God created music. The devils and mankind are the ones that messing it up.
Right. So that's why I think music can be inspirational and life changing. Um, and then the lyrics, and you got a great combination. So
So with the technology nowadays, I would really love to see you, but you said you don't have the passion, but let's just humor me for a second.
okay,
It would be a lot easier now than it was back in the 80s because we're working on our fifth album. That blows my mind.
right, right.
Without the digital transferring, you don't have to be in the same town. You don't have to go to such and such. Because I'm building my own studio downstairs right now.
That's great.
Yep. So it would really be cool if you guys either did another full album if you ever could, or have Rocks Records or somebody, Girder, do a remake and then put that other song that you were talking about on there as an extra
I mean, those
song.
are ideas. I actually built. I mean, I have a studio for
Okay.
my youngest son, because he likes the hip hop, the rap,
Okay.
uh, and I I actually bought him a studio. And he's been on that studio for, I guess, about a year now.
Okay.
He keeps telling me, Dad, I got to get you in the studio and do some music. So look,
Smart
it's in the
kid.
in the back of the mind. We'll see what happens.
All right. I'm going to start praying then.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then
So
one day it would be kind of cool because I don't know if you remember me, but I, like a few years back, I was bugging you about singing on one of our albums? Probably around 2022.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
because I have Michael Fian on there, Tracy Ferry,
Oh,
Benjamin Birdsong, Chaz Bond. I mean, our second album,
wow.
Only Human, had a whole bunch of guests.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember. What did I
Okay,
say?
that's okay.
Did I
I'll
re-
never forget, but
did I respond to you about it?
yeah, you said something like you did here in the interview. You didn't feel inspired, and I think at the time, were you being a pastor, music pastor, or something back?
Yeah,
At
back
that?
then I was. Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew about you, like on any kind of personal level, that
Gotcha.
you were doing that stuff. So
Gotcha.
yeah, if you ever did that, I'm all over it.
All right. All right.
Anyway.
So you mentioned your son doing some hip hop music. Is he creating music? Is that something he's
Yeah,
looking to do?
he has a bunch of songs out under his stage name, I guess. Called his stage name is Enzo, and he's got
I've
stuff
heard
out
of him.
on the streaming platforms.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah. So
Yeah, I've heard of him.
yeah,
Yeah. So he's getting some notoriety. That's great.
yeah,
So he's
pretty
trying
good.
to get you in there with him. And are you gonna add rock to the kind of like Aerosmith and Run DMC did, or are you
I
gonna,
did it too.
or would you do more of that style if you did go back in the studio with your son?
Well, he and I have actually done a few things, and the style is not the rock rap combo style. It is more of the hip hop rap with me coming in and adding my flair to it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Not necessarily a rock flair, but me adding me into that genre. Um, and so yeah, I don't really see that combination, the rock rap combination. Not
Hit
for
that
me.
comment. Hit that comment real quick.
All right. So we've got um, Chris Carroll says classic Christian and rock metal kicks war. And Dale Thompson's with us tonight. We just had him on last
Yeah.
week. Hey, Dale. He says, "Hey, John,"
What's up, buddy?
and he misses your chats, and he says, "Love and blessings."
Yeah, same back to him. Same back to him.
So, is there a
we had
story
a
there?
we had a lot of great times on the road together. Played a lot of shows together. We were label mates. So we were both on Refuge Records. We both hopped on over to Star Song and played a lot of shows together. Great band, great bunch of guys. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. Well, I did find out that Troy can't play the harp,
Okay.
but he plays everything else because
That's the only thing Troy can't play.
Yeah, he's played the mandolin, the violin, the keyboards, the organ. The
Wow.
cello on
Wow.
our albums.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even know that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's man. So all that sound you hear, that's
He's a
Troy.
phenomenal
Dale just
musician.
adds all the vocals.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you get to do Cornerstone and all that stuff?
Cornerstone was
Back
the
in the
only
day?
festival. Yeah, Cornerstone is the only festival we did not do. But we did them all. We did Creation, Kingdom Bound, Atlanta Fest. Just every festival that I could think of, we did, except for Cornerstone for some reason.
I did Cornerstone in 2012 with my other band, Otherwise Broken, and we did 2 stages. The Michigan stage was new, and then at night we were on the what's it? It's not the improv stage, Impact stage.
Mm.
So yeah, so I did Cornerstones. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Hot.
So
Oh my goodness.
you were out doing festivals. What kind of interaction did you get? What kind of ministry opportunities were there in those festivals and things like that? Because I'm sure there was a lot of interaction with fans and stuff.
Yeah, festivals are interesting. They're you go, you play your show, your set, then you hang out back by the merch booth, and that's where the interaction happens. Where fans come up and you get to talk to people and minister to people as needed. A little bit different than the solo shows or the shows if we're doing with another artist. Those are a little bit more intimate, a little bit more. You had a little bit more time to uh, share your faith, share your testimony. You know what I mean? Like in a 30-minute set or less, you got to bang out your 3, 4, 5 songs and get off stage. Where when you're performing in your concerts, there's a lot more time for you to be intimate with the audience, share your faith, and then really do a little bit more ministry off stage, back at the merch booth. There was a lot of that happening, and I know it wasn't just us. It was a lot of bands. That's a lot of bands did that, not only on stage but off stage as well.
Did you feel that you were pressured in those kind of settings in the like in the tents and all that kind of stuff at those shows?
Pressured
to hurry, because I remember Ted Kirkpatrick actually met him in a Steak and Shake bathroom, and he went to the urinal next to me, and I looked at him. I go, "Hey, you're Ted Kirkpatrick." And he looked at me like I'm nuts or something, and I go, "Don't worry, I'm not going to shake your hand." And he laughed. It was hilarious. And that was after Cornerstone Festival, and he didn't get to do his 15-minute drum solo because they were like, time.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what you were getting into. The opportunity was great because you played for a lot of people. I mean, the biggest crowd we played to was close to 20,000 at Flavo in Holland, which was a huge festival. But you knew what you were in for, right?
Right.
Going in, they told you this is your set, this is how much time you have, and it's very orchestrated. And the stage manager was like on it.
They were at Cornerstone.
Yeah, and so I mean, it never bothered me. I mean, I understood what it was about, and I appreciated the opportunity because you got to play for a lot more people.
Yeah.
And people that were not necessarily fans. They were either there to see other bands and never heard of us. And so it was great exposure. But I never felt pressure.
That's what's cool about festivals, because I found out about Skillet before they were popular. My friend's like, "It's midnight, we got to go see Skillet." I'm like, "I'm not hungry."
Where was that?
When I saw the show, I'm like, "Holy mackerel!"
Was that at a festival?
That was at Cornerstone.
Was that Cornerstone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back when they were still, I guess that first, like after the first album, they started having, and they had Lori Peters, I think, the female drummer.
Gotcha.
Yep. So anyway, it was great.
Cool.
Yeah. So you did the second album, and then you knew something told you it was time to do other things. What was that like, transitioning from that lifestyle to how did you know it was time that Novella was no more? How did that?
Well, I knew that Star Song was no more. When we recorded the second record, and we went into a listening session with the executives, and we played them what Des was considering the first single, which was going to be Story.
Love it.
And they listened to the song, and Daryl Harris, who was the president at the time, said, "We don't know what to do with you guys." And it was right then and there, I knew we were not at the right place. And so after that, I had just decided, the whole scene of being in a corporate environment, when I didn't really see a lot of Christian faith coming from the corporate music environment. I'll be honest with you. I just didn't see it. It was just very business, which is okay. I mean, if you want to be business, be business. But there wasn't a lot of Christian sensibilities, faith coming from the top executives. It came from, Des. It came from a gentleman named Mike Kyle, who was the marketing director. That he was just awesome to us. But once you got up into that upper executive level, now that I'm older and I'm in corporate America, there was no difference. There was no difference between being in corporate America where I am now and seeing and remembering those guys. Again,
You know who knew that too? It sounds just like you, Rich Mullins.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
he didn't like that big wig stuff. I don't either.
I didn't like it at all. And so I had decided after the second record that I was just going to pursue a solo career, and I wasn't even going to pitch myself to any of the labels. I mean, there were labels that wanted me, but I just wasn't interested. So I started my own little label. Now this is back in the 90s when, again, there's no social media, there's none of that stuff. So I had to go find a distributor, which I found. And I released 2 records, and, hired radio promoter and just did everything myself, got on the road. On my second record, I toured with Petra. I did a 22 show opening tour with Petra.
Awesome.
And it was on those last 2 shows I had said, now, again, I'm older at the time, right? So I wasn't a very young guy when I got into this. So at that point in time, I'm in my mid 30s, and I just said, I'm done with this. I was married. My first son wasn't born yet, but I was just tired of the road, the grind, because I was going at it at that point for a good 10 years. And I was just completely over the grind, because it's
and you said you did it very aggressively too.
Did it very aggressively. Yeah. We did a lot of shows as Novella, and I did a lot of shows as a solo artist.
Okay.
And on my second record, I got great airplay. And so I just got to the point where I was just over it. And I wanted a new phase in my life. And so I just completely walked away. And I didn't even get into church music ministry, because I was a praise and worship leader until, let's see, maybe 20 years later.
Wow.
18 years later, something like that. And I did that for 6 years.
So you still have the pipes?
I still have the pipes.
Ooh, can you sing us a line right now or something?
No, I could still. No,
we keep trying. Somebody's gonna do it.
So I'm sure there was like a lot of heavy conversations with your wife at the time, and considering this transition out of the limelight and into, family life and what that's going to look like, and, not making your money from the music. So how did that go? What kind of, was she supportive of you leaving? And obviously, because you did it, but was there some wrangling going on with you, or were you just ready to go and walk away because you knew it was time, and the Lord kind of gave you a clear direction?
I mean, she was extremely supportive. So, and, she was a lot younger than me. So she kind of just allowed me to lead. If that makes sense.
Sure.
That's good. That's a good wife right there.
Yeah. And so there wasn't really a lot of discussion about, should you be doing this? Should you not be doing this? I just felt very confident that that's the direction I had to go. And she was supportive in that.
That's awesome.
Did you hear like definitive? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Oh, she didn't tell you to curse God and die?
No, I didn't hear that from her. No.
Excellent.
So did you hear like definitively from the Lord that it's time to do something different, and then He opened doors for you to go in a different direction?
I'm not one of those that believe I hear anything from the Lord. I just believe doors open, doors close. I don't know. I'm one of those.
You walk through the doors
that. I'm gonna have him open a door and make a third album. There you go, Jonathan.
So, there you go. If that door gets opened,
where's that door at? I'm just sitting there knocking it over. There, I told you I wouldn't fanboy, but that's all I'll do right there.
All right, appreciate it.
It's just fun to talk, you know.
So what was the transition from into music ministry? How did that come about?
You mean into
18 years later. Yeah.
into music? Oh, yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting story. So my oldest son was in middle school. He had a friend. His friend was a pastor of a church, and he showed up at the door to take my son and his son to a basketball game. And it's the first time I met him, Roger Patton, the pastor of this church. And I told him my background about Novella and whatnot, and then he just hounded me to come to church and come on, play in the band, and so yeah, so I went to church. I started just playing piano in the band, and the praise and worship leader abruptly resigned.
Wow.
And so he looks at me and he goes, "I need you."
And then you wrote that song? I'm just kidding. I
Yeah.
need you.
No, but I showed him the song.
Oh, good.
No, so yeah, so that's how it started. So the gentleman who was the praise and worship leader had left, and the spot was open, and I was already in the band, so I went ahead and just stepped into that position. So
That's cool.
yeah.
And how long did you do that?
I did that. He jumped from one church to another to another. He 3 churches. I followed him to each one.
No way.
And so I think that total time period was about 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The last church was a church that he and a bunch of other people had started. And so I went from a small church with him in the beginning to a bigger church to now a startup church. And then he ended up taking a pastorship in California, and that's where I said, "Yeah,
I
not
can't live there.
I'm not following you. I love Nashville."
So is that church that you were ministering at in music, is that church still going on?
No, so that church they were trying to decide whether they should bring in another pastor or if they should just close doors, and they decided to close doors. Now, when they did that, I had already retired, so they had brought in another praise and worship leader who was there for about a year before he left, and that church actually closed doors.
Cool.
So going back to your solo material, um, you wrote everything for that, the music, the lyrics, all that, correct?
Yes. So on those 2 records, I wrote all the music
And
and the lyrics.
and then did you get bands to tour with you, or did you have bands that came into the studio and recorded with you, or did you do all the
I
music?
had on the first record, I had musicians come in. Derek Jan played a lot of the guitar, acoustic guitar, and that was more of a piano, acoustic guitar kind of a record. Um, the second one, called Push, was really a much more modern type of a record. And I had musicians came in. I played a lot of the guitars. I played a lot of the keyboards on that particular record, on the second solo record, and that's the one I really kind of pushed as far as sending singles out. The first one, I just wanted to. I was going out and playing churches. I just wanted to have a solo record. The second one was more of something that had radio tunes that I like I said, I had a radio promoter that was promoting a couple of singles. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so when would you just hire musicians to tour with you when you would go out, or
I
did you
did not have a touring band. So I went out and I actually played to on some of the songs I had backtracks on a CD. Now remember, this is pre everything that we know today.
Right.
So I had I used Plinky on the second record. He and I produced that second record, and I just had him do some mixes without the vocals. I put them on CDs, and I went and played to those. So I didn't have a touring band.
And so when that church closed, nobody else tried to court you, tried to bring you in and get you doing worship for them. Because I mean, I would, if I was there and I was starting up, I knew about you, I'd be like, hey man.
Yeah, at that point in time, I was pretty much off the market, meaning, you know, I was very involved in my business. I was growing a business, and there was not a lot of contact with people who were looking for, praise and worship leaders, or even praise worship bands. And there was also that thing that was going on at that point in time where I was looked at as the old man.
Mm.
So they were, a lot of these bigger churches were interested in making sure that everybody was under 30. That was that thing back then. I don't know how it is now, but back then that was the thing.
We need to
Yeah.
get back to hiring people for qualifications.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Instead of a certain look or
Yeah.
vibe, because I've had several home fellowships and startups, and the one thing that I always didn't have was the worship component, and I always felt like that was such an important part that was always missing, and so the fact that you got to be with that one pastor for those three churches is phenomenal, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a tremendous blessing for him to have somebody he could rely on, and I'm sure you guys must have melded well together.
We did, and I was very supportive of him and his ministry, and he needed that. He needed support around him. So
Mhm.
Cool.
And so you have your own business. Is that what you do now?
yeah, I'm in finance. I've been in finance for almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So what do you do with that?
So I have a business partner, and so we have a financial planning and an asset management firm. So we do a lot of retirement planning for a lot of people who are pre-retirees. We manage money. I've been managing money for 30 years. So as soon as I got out of my solo stuff, I got my licenses, and I transitioned into managing assets and managing money. I developed my own portfolios. And it's another passion of mine. I really love what I do. So I'm fortunate. I was able to do something I love and transition into something I love too. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love that because we had a Scott Turney on a few weeks ago, and he's a financial guy. He's helping me with my retirement actually,
Nice.
and we had some really great discussions on that aspect of the finances, the stewardship, what how that looks, and using your money to glorify the Lord.
Right.
And so we brought you on to talk about music and novella, but you're doing stuff now that's important as well.
Yep.
And you've got this business, and you're providing for your family, and you're honoring the Lord with your and finding guys in that business with a spiritual background like yourself is gold, because now people can trust you.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I actually see my business as a somewhat of a ministry, in the sense that, I'm compensated. So it is a business, but
Right.
in my business, there are so many people who are vultures and wolves.
Yep.
Mhm.
I see myself as a protector, and somebody who I have put myself under an umbrella. See, the way my business is structured, or the industry is structured, you can be under different umbrellas. So I'm under an umbrella where I have to do what's in my client's best interests.
Right.
I can't do what's in my best interests. There's plenty of those out there. And so
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that I had myself, in a situation where everything that I do for folks is pure, honest, what's the best for you, right? And that's rare in my business. And so I kind of brought the ministry from that I grew up with into my professional life. So
That's good, because the Bible says, "Whatsoever you do, do as unto the Lord."
Exactly.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Exactly
So,
right.
do you do primarily for your region, for the Nashville area, or are you helping people around the country?
Yeah, no, we have clients. We have a team of people in the office, and we have clients scattered. You know, mostly East Coast. We don't have any clients out west, but we have clients up and down the East Coast.
That's cool.
So,
Yep.
if somebody wants to avail themselves of your services, how would they get in touch with you? What would be the contact?
We have a website. The website is Genesis Group Genesis Group WS, which stands for Wealth Services. .com. They can just go to the website. They could schedule a meeting with any one of the team, and start a discussion.
Cool.
So yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's really cool that you're doing something like that. That's literally changing people's lives because
Yep.
it's a big. I'm getting ready to retire in like August,
Oh
and I
wow.
feel like I'm stepping off a cliff, and I'm a little
Yeah.
scared at the same time.
No,
And my thinking is, I want to trust God, not the money. So, as much as I'm worried about my portfolio and all that kind of thing, I'm more concerned about stepping where God places my feet.
Yep.
But having somebody like Scott or someone being able to have someone like you to be there that they can trust, that's phenomenal. That's
Yep.
the big difference.
Yep.
So what would you say, someone that's thinking about retiring right now that doesn't have financial planning, what would be your advice to them?
I mean, if somebody's retiring now without financial advice from a professional and the right professional, like I was
Mhm.
describing to you, you really have to have the right professional.
Sure.
There's too many people just selling product. Um, you got to really find someone willing to dig into the numbers and pull all your information in and do some good concrete planning. Not just recommend products and yeah, put your money here, put your money there. I mean, that's my experience says that most people fail when they're just dealing with product salesmen. So the best advice I could tell anybody is find yourself somebody who is a financial planner that also manages money but somebody who's actually going to pull in everything, your social security, your pensions, if you have it. If you're married, the different social securities and how that plays together. Um, and actually do some cash flow planning, which is what we're really good at. And that's more important. That's more important than anything else. Retirement planning, cash flow planning, and then asset management secondarily. That should only be included as to how your planning works. So in other words, your planning should dictate how your money is managed, not the other way around. There's too many people in my business that they just want to see what are your assets. Let's put it in this annuity. Let's put it in this managed program, and that's backwards in my opinion. So that's the best advice I can give anybody.
So what they need to do is figure out what their goals are and then craft their retirement plan around that.
Goals and then what your resources are. What are we dealing with? What do you got? What are we dealing with? You got pensions, you got social securities. Um, when should they kick in? How long are you working for? Should you be working a little bit longer? Should you be delaying social security? Uh, should, husband and wife, if there's an age difference, should the husband be taking social security at 70 instead of earlier? All these things are extremely important. And I see a lot of people make a lot of mistakes who don't use advisors, good advisors. So,
Good ones you got to point out.
Well, we have hit the hour mark. This was a great show. Really enjoyed talking to you and getting to know about your history and what's going on currently. Somebody wants to connect with you, social media, what's your profile look like?
So the best way to get a hold of me, let me tell you one more time about the business website is genesisgroupwm.com.
It's in the comments. You can
It's in the
pull it up.
comments. And you
Yeah,
pop it
Genesis
up
Group
there.
WM, and then I've got a Novella Facebook page. I've got a Jonathan Pagano Facebook page. Right now we have One Big Sky up on the streamings. We're working on a Liquid Earth, and then we're going to follow it up with the solo records.
Cool. Yeah, I saw you post that, and I'm like, ooh. Very excited.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So if you're listening and hearing about Novella for the first time, if you're finding out about the Jonathan Pagano solo music that's out there, go ahead and get it. Are you selling CDs? Are you selling any physical media right now?
There's nothing for sale.
Okay.
Nothing
So
for
stream or find it on the secondary market. But if you ever do come out where you're going to sell or get anything physical media out there, let us know.
Okay.
We'd love to help promote it. We'd love to help.
Are these out of print?
Yes, they are.
Ooh, I'm holding on to some gold.
Oh,
Yeah,
you are.
they're only going to
As a matter
go
of
up.
fact, a few years ago, I went and searched for anybody selling a Novella CD, and I snatched, 20 One Big Skies and a Liquid Earths. I paid whatever they wanted. So,
What was the highest one?
Because when we're on the road, they're just going through our hands. I didn't even keep a record for myself, a CD for myself.
No way.
I'm like,
Way.
Now my wife had one, my parents had one, you know what I mean? Like family members had one, but I didn't have one. So
Look at this, Jonathan, when I told you earlier, I couldn't believe that we have had 4 albums.
Yeah.
This is our newest one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
That's great. Well, guys, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate the conversation.
It was great.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, this was great. Really enjoyed it. Stick around for a second after we go off air because we'll debrief for just a tiny bit.
Okay, sounds good.
Want to thank you, Bryan. Close us out, man.
All right. Don't forget to read your Bible every day. Even if you're really tired, do at least one chapter. I've been doing it for over 5 years now, and it's made a huge difference in my life, in my walk with Christ. So no matter how tired I get, I'm like, I don't feel like reading. But I sit down and I plunge